feels great to listen so much about yourself. Ask my parents who are sitting in the front row here how troubled they were when I was a kid, taking my telescope out. All night I was out doing something, this thing and that thing, and my mother was really worried what I'm going to do in my life. So it is really encouraging, Mila, and on the behest I would like to thank all of you to come to India. I understand for international travelers there was a lot of trouble and confusion going on 3 months back from now when we were thinking, will the conference be there or not? So I remember the questions coming straight away to me and a very straightforward mail from Sheridan saying, Sachin, if you don't respond today, we are not going to come to India. So thank you all for coming, and it's a wonderful pleasure to have you all again. In 2009 we met this group of people who were here, and before I start what space is all about, I would like to tell you in 2009 the eclipse that happened in Bihar, there was a huge crowd of 1,84,000 people, 180,000 people watching an eclipse from a single place. It happened though, we were the orchestrators of that observation, but it all happened because Xavier and Sheridan were running around and talking to people at Taregana, the place where Aryabhata, the Indian astronomer, used to count the stars, hence the name Taregana. Tare means star in Hindi. So my presentation has been ripped off by CV and Amit, who will be telling you what all we have been doing. So I have just been restricted to how we do it and who we are. So major wonderful work of what my speakers before me said will be presented to you in later presentations. I'll just talk about what is space all about. You can read the logo there, empowering life with science. Now it has taken us time to come out what we actually do, and this is what we actually want to do and do. That is, whatever my two previous speakers told, we try to take the research that is happening at hardcore institutes, turn it into a possible popular science project or a program or an activity, and try to relate it to a common man. That is what we try to do, and in the process we have actually tried to empower many lives. As Mila told you about, that there are kids now, young kids, 13 years, 14 years, who have been discovering asteroids, though they actually do not do the complete discovery. The astrometry is done by one of the astronomers, but they do let the initial data come to us, and students identify the moving objects in it. The report is sent back, and an astronomer does an astrometry, and they are kind enough to share the discovery with the kids. This is how this program goes about. Now, space has its beginning associated to an eclipse. In 1995, when I was a student at Delhi University, went to study an eclipse at Bhind. Now Bhind is a place where the Indian dacoits have origin. It's a famous place near a village called a river called Chambal. So when we set up all our equipment on the roof, they wanted to come exactly on the spot. Probably they thought that eclipse was very special from this particular roof. So they wanted to come up. At night they came, and two of us were just guarding our equipment, and they came and said that we would like to watch the eclipse right from this place. So our mentor, Dr. Nirupama Raghavan, she is not anymore. She tried to explain them that it would be not possible for them to watch the eclipse from the roof because it will bring vibrations, but they did not agree. So I was given the responsibility of taking those people down and make them watch the eclipse. Now we did not have, Eric has always been very kind to bring eclipse goggles now and gives it every time he comes to India, but at that time we did not have such sophisticated equipment, to make everyone have those goggles. So what we tried was, it was a 52-second totality. What we tried was, we tried to explain them that once the eclipse is happening, you all look, I made them look at the other side for 52 seconds, counted those 52 seconds, and it was also my first eclipse. So counted those 52 seconds and told them, look down. Now they did not understand why was I making them not face towards the sun, because actually the sun was going to get eclipsed. So I was making them just understand how they have to watch the eclipse naked eye, and in the process they all got angry, and there were around 50 guns on my head, telling that he's trying to make a stupid of us. So but when the eclipse happened and I made those all those people, they were not actually dacoits. People in that part of India have a tradition of carrying a gun with them. So when they all saw the eclipse, and it was a wonderful sight. And what happened with me, I told them I counted 52 seconds. That was what I was able to do precisely. But after 52 seconds, I told everyone to look down, and they all were looking down, and I was still glaring at the beautiful image, beautiful thing that was happening in the sky. And that also, after the eclipse was over, those people, I am still in touch with them. I had a lot of praise from them, and I could see how these events relate to a common man. And that is somewhere the beginning of this thought of bringing all of this to a common man, where they can relate themselves to these celestial phenomena, which we all know that we relate to, but could participate a bit more and contribute to science. And that is where we started doing our work. And the other trouble that happens with a science popularizer is, if you are doing a voluntary work in astronomy popularization or space science popularization, you still have to make both your ends meet. You still have to earn your bread. So what happens, you do things enthusiastically for some period of time, and then you fade off, because life takes on its toil on you, and until and unless you have taken this as a profession or found a place where you could find a job, ultimately you lose the passion, or you're not able to dedicate that much time even if the passion continues. So this is what we tried. So 3 astronomers, my friend C.V. Devgan, Amitabh Pandey and Pankaj Sharma, they wanted to have an organization where they could also earn and continue their work of science popularization. So we made our work our passion. In 2001, it was all initiated as a society. There was no for-profit wing for space. It was started as a society, but ultimately law forced us. In India, you cannot be a member of a society and still can have your salary from the same, because you then become a beneficiary, which is not allowed under that set of registration with the government. So what happened was, we offered our services, our products, whatever we could design and whatever we could invent, and started earning money to do our science popularization activities. So this company, which started in 2003 formally, is now present all over India, and now we are the largest non-government employer in the sector of science popularization. The journey has been enthralling, and what potential, what is really fires us is the potential that we can see future. Now, it seems a cliche, but I'll tell you why do I say it here. In 2006 rather, there came a time, since I was always funded by my family, my friends and all, it was not a profit-making venture, and they were all very patient with my extravagant hobby going on. And in 2006, a time actually came when we actually thought that would we be able to survive or not. And if now I open it up to everybody who is sitting here, 2009 was the last year when we gave ourselves time that probably if 2009 we are not able to meet, both our ends meet, we will stop in working in 2010. We offered the 2 products that I am going to say for a very low cost. That was the probably the difficulty in our working, because we offered whatever services we had at a very low cost. 10 visits to a school for around $50 a year. So 10 visits along with the kit that we used to supply, along with the salaries of the various people and training and research, we couldn't support it all. In 2010, finally the question came, what is the time when space will break even? And probably what we expected in 2006, as I said, we are able to see in future. We thought in 2006 that by 2010 we will stop, but by 2010 people responded to what we were seeing. So it was a delay of 5 years. What we expected in 2006 for people to respond, it happened in 2010 and 11, and 2012 will be the first year, probably I can announce it now, when we are going to be actually a profitable venture, which I take proud to be. Now, as I said, I have always looked back to my parents, my house, my family, to support whatever I do, and there have been troubles. They were worried, their kid will ultimately spoil everything, will, spend whatever they have saved for my future, and this was what I saw as my future. They were worried, but I could see all through that they were very proud of me. Whatever I did, they were very proud. They wanted me to continue it, but wanted me to find ways where it could become profitable. Because that was the whole idea, not to get funds, not to depend on anyone, anybody, to do whatever we wanted to do. And probably this conference would have not been possible if I would have started looking for a sponsor for 3 months back. So it was no trouble at all, and this is how we work. Now, here we are a team of astronomers, scientists and researchers, educators, science communicators, trainers and managers. And in our strength, I think first, third and fourth is all of us have. We are very passionate. I'm always moved by this collection, this galaxy of avid eclipse chasers, and you always give us a lot of passion and fill our batteries again to do and work for next time when we meet. But I think this manpower training is the only area why we are a unique company. Now, in our schools we offer various products. We offer astronomy clubs, we offer center of excellences, consultancy, we offer teacher training programs, and if it would have been restricted to a few of us, it would not be a scalable proposition. And this is the area what we have really worked upon, and we can take a teacher who is a trained science teacher, and it takes a 25 days of training in space to become what I would say a start of an astronomer. So you get the training in telescopes, you get the training in teaching. We have around 225 different modules and activities developed in which they get trained, and it takes 25 days for a normal teacher to become an educator of space, though it takes another 3 years to understand what has been taught in those 25 days. And I think it takes a lifetime to actually get the complete passion. But I've seen young people joining us and get passionate about things, and the things are going really wonderful. And I offer all of these, whatever we have learned to the community who is present here. Space would be happy to contribute in any way. Now, this is what we consist of. As I said, it all started with the, this Space Foundation, which is the acronym for Science Popularization Association of Communicators and Educators, and this is what we wanted to do, but then ultimately ended up forming 3 companies. One is working in education at this point of time, and there are wonderful products. We are right now working in, as Dr. Rautela correctly pointed, there are 3 states we have expanded to, and by 2012 we will be in the rest of the 22 states in India, offering our service to the various markets that we are in. And then tourism is a real big thing that we are into, and as you all know, Glenn and Ajay, Ajay at that time was working with space, and with the help of Glenn we were able to do the first ever passenger flight in 2009 in India, then led to a cruise in 2010 which went into Indian Ocean, and the tickets were just sold in a matter of minutes for both the trips. So my friends in the further presentations will be showing you plans of space. Then as Dr. Rautela also pointed out, we do make activities and equipment of astronomy low cost and provide it to students to do hands-on science, and that is also one of the reasons we are so focused on astronomy and space science, because it requires the application of whatever you learn. The knowledge has 3 steps of understanding, and then first knowing something, then understanding it, and then applying it. So with astronomy, whatever you do, it starts with the application. So your fundamentals of science that you have learnt in class get really applied, and nothing is out of astronomy and space science. You do geography, you do computers, you do biology, you do chemistry, and so we call astronomy as the mother of all sciences, and that is the reason we have it as a product. Then recently, 2 years back, a company has been formed called Leo Planetarium, which is now first company, private company in India other than National Council of Science Museum, which make digital mobile planetariums. We are the people who are making digital mobile planetariums in India, and 2012 will see a release of 17 different softwares for shows on these planetariums that can be run, and we are making them in 5 different languages of India. And other than that, we support 2 outreach wings, which is one is Eclipse Chasers Athenaeum, of which most of you are member and rest of you are not members, and our international travelers will be requested to become members. You are welcome to become member of this. Then we also support amateur wing of space that is called Astronomica. It is young amateur astronomers who use the facility and the equipment that we have at space and are doing wonderful work all across. Now these are some photographs for you. I had written very different milestones, but then finally, as I said, all of my milestones were stripped away, and you will read them, you will listen about them later on in the presentations of CB and Amit. So I think this is what is left for me. We are the first ever successful model of self-sustaining science popularization company in the country. I do not know about the world, but in the country we are actually the first ever company. We have at present 200 people who are working with us, are employed with us, and these are the people who are not doing the conventional jobs in the field of pure sciences, but doing science popularization at various levels. We have successfully ventured into various established industries with astronomy and space science as the core product. Now I talked about education and tourism. We are working with people, probably to put up a telescope on their rooftop, train them, and as Sheridan was telling me, the idea is really popular in Britain to have a bread and butter in your house and probably a telescope where people can come. So these sort of ventures are going on, and we are training more and more people. We are the first people who introduced astronomy in Indian education system and the concept of astrotourism in India. One thing that has happened with us is that we have nurtured new entrepreneurs in astronomy and space science. By that, what I mean is that people have found ways to earn their living. They come to us, get trained, buy a telescope, go out, offer their services to small hotels and resorts, and probably that is how they earn their livelihood now. Now for major plans for 2012, for education, we have 3 products that we offer right now. One is Center for Excellence in Astronomy and Space Science. Some of the schools who are sitting there are members of this. In this model, we place a teacher or a space educator in this school who acts as the consultant and goes on with the plans of astronomy and space throughout the year. The most popular thing that we have been doing for the past 7 years is the space clubs. It's a astronomy in 10-step sort of module in which we visit schools 10 times a year and do various activities and experiments. Those students are otherwise kept involved in the astronomy and space science activities happening all over the world. We do train students for various competitions to participate in various projects, but these are the 10 visits that we promise if a school opens up a space club with us. Then there is a continuous workshop model in which you can choose any workshop to be done in your school. And other than astronomy, there are various workshops in space science that we have developed, making small rockets, hydro rockets, and we are talking to CSC NASA to help us start the workshop of sounding rockets in India. In astrotourism, in 2012, the major plans are to travel to China. We are looking forward to travel with a contingent of 250 students for the annular solar eclipse. Most of you are aware of our work in 2010 Varkala eclipse, and students have done a wonderful contribution at that point of time. So around 250 students will be traveling with us to China. Then for India, since these 2 eclipses are not visible in India, Venus transit is the big thing coming up for us. We will be traveling with a different contingent of students. Some of them will be overlapping again to China and use the Halley's method to calculate 1 AU. I think James has already been requested by my colleague, to help us design these experiments. Total solar eclipse on November 14th, again which is the prime focus of this conference, will be on the lot of support and encouraging words from Dr. Hassan. We have finally decided that we might charter a plane and take all the students to Australia, though the things are still being worked upon, because I see as a clear different interest of students who will go to Australia. and the scientist who will go to Australia. Probably the dates and times of going and coming might not match, but still, once he has put an idea to our consideration, we are surely looking into it of chartering a plane. Probably by January 30th, these plans will be finally announced. As I said, for India, Venus transit is the major thing coming up. In 2004, when we started this project, it was started by Dr. Nirupama Raghavan, and has been since then taken over by Dr. Ratnashri. She is one of the people who has been a real strength to space. She is the director of Nehru Planetarium and will be a speaker. You will listen to her. And in 2004, there were 2,500 students and 250 schools that participated in a 3-process experiment that we designed, which is called Vamana project. It is a mythology in India, in which a god actually measured the whole universe in 3 steps. So there are 3 steps. First, they calculate the longitude and latitude of their own location using a simple mnemon, and then they extend it to measuring the circumference of the earth, and then finally calculating the astronomical unit, the basic unit with which we measure the universe. So we have already started on developing a low-cost equipment. In fact, IIA, Indian Institute of Astrophysics and Vigyan Prasar, has already done a beginning by hosting a conference, which was there on 19th of November. I was one of the participants, and it was a wonderful conference in which the plans have been rolled, how things will move ahead. And as he rightly put, and there are both of them are sitting in front of me, I request right here using this stage that we plan to do these experiments with around 25,000 students in 5 different zones of India, and National Council of Science Museum and IIA could help us providing venues and platform, and probably could do a joint training programs for the teachers of various schools where the students can be involved into these experiments. We are also creating a special website which will be act as a national node, similar to an IYA 2009 website for Venus transit, where we would invite all amateurs and other professional organizations. It will be again be a collaborative effort between various organizations, supported by between various government organizations and organizations like us, where we would like to make it a single window, information for everything that is happening for Venus Transit 2012. The equipment that I talked about, this low-cost equipment that I talked about, probably there will be a time when we will be able to show you what we have developed. Though Dr. Rautela, I would request C.V. Devgan to show him some of the equipment right away, because he will not be with us tomorrow and day after. He has a conference to attend, and same is with Dr. Hassan. Now, this is where we are seeking support of IIA and National Council of Science Museums. We want to do workshops in 5 various zones of India, dividing into central, eastern, northern, western and southern zone. And the National Council of Science Museums and IIA has presence in various locations. Probably that could act as an initiation and a place where these trainings can happen. Now, for all of you who are here, there are various possibilities that we would want you to ponder upon, and probably, if possible, to collaborate with us. We are looking for various places where the Indian students can travel and do real science. It would be wonderful if you could come out with suggestions, and we could make small trips, and design itineraries where students can be brought, and some serious work of science and contribution to science can be done. We are looking forward to do student exchange programs. There are representatives of various countries. We are sincerely looking forward. Schools are really enthusiastic in India to have their counterparts and peers coming from various countries and do astronomy in India, and probably the same opportunities may be extended to them when they come to your country. Now, one work which space has not done yet is present papers. When we work in field, there is a lot of possibility of coming out with good papers, do good science, and do collaborative scientific studies. That is one place where you can help us and design some factors which could be correlated, and the studies could be taken up, We are at presently working with around 80,000 students all over India, and have a linked and non-linked workforce of around 400 trained astronomers. So it is possible for us to take good studies, as Dr. Hassan pointed out about one of the experiments which has not been completed. Probably various other experiments can be taken up. I would also like to bring your focus that we travel with huge contingents at the places where the astronomical happenings are going on. There are celestial events happening. Probably you can use our numbers and suggest us some experiments which can be done with our kids and the people who travel with us. And this is one thing that we are looking from all of you. And an interesting opportunity that is extended to all amateurs, school teachers, and the coordinators of space clubs. We want volunteers for our projects. That is, we would sponsor your travel, probably sponsor the travel of your students from your universities, and probably sponsor the travel of the people who you can suggest, who can go with these groups and who are trained, and we don't have to spend on their training, and we can send them to these locations where eclipses and transits are happening, and it could be an opportunity for them to travel, and could be an opportunity for Indian students to interact with the astronomers and students from various countries. So for 2015, this is, other than the activities that you will be told about, this is what we are going to do as as our vision in education. We are going to open up space activity centers, that is bring new entrepreneurs, train them, run small centers where model making, basic astronomy techniques, telescope making, and making small equipments can be started. There will be centers run by various people who will be trained by us. By 2013, we have taken up a target of opening 100 such centers all over India, and in the process we are going to provide job and economic independence to around 500 people. In astrotourism, we have started collaborating with resorts and hotels to create a position of astronomy associated with a resort or a hotel. We are going to bring up this as a major thing, and probably would tie up with various hotels and try to create jobs for many people. We have decided to open up 10 astronomy theme resorts all across India. The locations at this time are being zeroed in. Now there is an interesting thing that we are going to do. You all are aware of culture tourism, in which there are villages, exquisite villages in India where the foreigners are welcome, and they enjoy the lifestyle and eat with them. We will add a bit of astronomy to it, and we are calling it cosmoculture tourism. And I am in the process of talking to government of Himachal Pradesh and Tamil Nadu to give us 10 villages in each to start this as a pilot project. In philanthropy, I have been working on something which we would like to do, and have been planning to do this for the past 1.5 years. By 2015, we wish to train around 5,000 women in basic astronomy and telescope handling techniques and night sky watching techniques, where they could actually act as a resource center for underprivileged and resourceless children in rural India. Since children who are sitting at back, they are lucky that their parents can pay whatever fees we charge, but there is a huge population of Indian students who cannot pay, who have very difficulty in even finding bread for them. So we would like to create around 5,000 women astronomers who could take this message all across India and work with those students, since Sky as a lab is available to all of us free of cost. Now I just have one expectation from SEC 2012, and that is let's create a one-stop platform for 2012 activities. All of you are here. I have gone through your individual sites. There is wonderful information that you put. Probably once we have a meeting and we are discussing it out of the conference, we could come up with a plan where all of this could be brought at one place, and we can find experiments. People can find experiments that students can do. What all different countries are doing in their in this field. Specific countries are doing for this eclipse. Probably all the plans are at one place. This is a wish that I have from SEC 2011, and thanking again to all of you who are here. I extend a heartiest welcome to all of you again. Thank you very much.